Good day everyone, welcome back. Now today we'd be taking a look at Tamiya's new kit, the US Tank Destroyer M18 Hellcat. And as usual, we'd be taking a look at the parts, the sprues, and just some comments and feedback along the way. And without further ado, let's get into it. Now firstly, let's take a look at these two identical sprues. As you can see here, most of them are for the Tank Destroyer's running gear. So you have here all the road wheels, as you can see, and then also the parts for the idler and also drive sprocket. Now this kit uses link and length tracks. So as you can see, this would be the bottom piece, the upper piece, and these two pieces right here would connect the bottom piece to the idler and also sprocket. Then you have here the individual track links that would wrap around and connect these parts to the upper running piece. You also have here the return rollers and also other parts for the suspension. As such, also these and also the ones here. Now these parts, as you can see, also here, they are for the sponson, and if I'm not mistaken, those are more ammunition for the tank destroyer. The rest of the parts and pieces are for other external parts of the upper hull, and also some on the rear panel. Next up, we have here the major hull pieces, and as you can see, it's not the tub type of lower hull. You have here the lower hull panel, the lower hull side panels, and then also the sponsons. Now on closer inspection, you can see that there are fine weld details on the lower hull panel. And then also for the sides, the one where the suspension would be, you can see that most of the details are finely molded. The sponson is as is, even at the back, and you would just have to add those racks that I showed you earlier. Next up, we have here the upper hull piece, and as you can see, fine weld details right along the panels of the Hellcat. Here we have the hull floor for the fighting compartment, the rearmost panel for the hull, the upper hull rear panel, and then also the transmission cover. This one would go into the fighting compartment area around this end right here. Okay, now for this sprue, it's a bit more complicated, so let's try to focus in more on this. Now for this one, you have the engine grills, which are finely molded, and you can see that they are drilled out. The other pieces, as you can see right here, are all for the interior of the turret. Now, you have to be very careful when putting these together, as when painting them, some might obstruct other pieces or might fiddle with the fit. So you have to really take note, or at least try to learn how the assembly would go before securing everything all together. Now for this one, as you can see here, there are two types of fenders. So just use reference photos as to what type of Hellcat, or at least what unit, what company, or what have you, used what kind of fender. As you can see here, these are other parts of the suspension, some of the Pioneer tools and external parts, the hatches for the driver and also radio operator, spare track links that would go on the back of the turret, and some racks on the sides of the turret. Now for this one, we have here the pieces of the turret, and as you can see, there are multiple pieces. So you have here the entire lower section, you have here the turret halves, and then also the turret ring. Here you have a commander figure, but he would be standing outside of the tank holding a map. You have here pieces of the gun mantlet cover. And as you can see, all the creases and folds of the of the cover are finely replicated. The other pieces right here, as you can see, are for the gun breech system. Now take note once again that when assembling this, some of it might obstruct other pieces. So once again, just go through the assembly and see how things fit before properly securing them. Now the others would be covers, like this one. This would be the cover for the back turret piece. For this one, you have here a slide molded 76mm M1A1. Now take note, this is the only gun available with a kit, and it does not have any thread protector or a muzzle brake. So this somewhat limits you to what unit you'd be modeling. In this case, Tamiya only provides 2 decals for a certain unit, which we'll be looking at later on. The other parts that you can see in and around this sprue are for the interior of the turret. So once again, the turret is heavily detailed. Well, not really heavily detailed, but well detailed enough that you would have a lot of pieces for it. Now, I think the only downside of this kit would be a lack of a proper crew inside the turret fighting compartment. Although it is nice that there is a tank commander figure, however it lacks other figures, let's say the gunner, and also the loader, which would make the tank look busy enough. Now for the smaller pieces and loose parts, you have here string. The string would be for the towing cable, polycaps, and your decal set. All the decals right here, save for the stars, are for specific units. Here you have the instruction manual, and as you can see, it's a booklet type. And here you have the markings for the tank. Now take note, it does depict only one battalion, which is the 805th Tank Destroyer Battalion, but the markings are different. So you have one from C Company and another one from B Company. Here's the assembly. Most of it would be for the lower hull. And then the suspension, as you can see right there. Then the running gear. And as you can see here, the drive sprocket and also the idler wheels are in multiple pieces. So the polycap would be for the drive sprocket, as you would be adjusting it when fitting the link and length tracks. Here you have the illustration for the link and length tracks, and they give you an actual size or an actual depiction of how the tracks would go. So you have here the lower running piece, the upper running piece, the individual track links, and also the ones that would be connecting the lower piece to the drive sprocket and also idler. Then the spawns and assembly, and the fenders, as you can see. This would be for, let's go back. This would be for C Company. Then also this one for B Company. As you can see, they use different kinds of fenders. But if you're going to depict this tank as another unit or from another unit, from another battalion, do use reference photos, as it would prove important to determine which fenders were used. So the engine grills go here. You have the back panel of the upper hull. Some Pioneer tools here and there, decal markings. Then also the assembly for the front upper hull, the hatches and also the periscopes, and also the headlights. Then the bush guards right there. Then you get to the turret assembly. As you can see right there, a lot of interior detailing was put into it. More on the sides of the hull, the turret. And also the ring where you would be attaching the 50 cal. More parts right here. Then the gun breech. The mantlet covers. And then the turret ring. So as you can see, there are really a lot of assembly parts for the turret fighting compartment. So again, do take note how you'd be assembling this in order for you to properly paint it as well. Then you also have the 50 cal right here, the assembly. So you would find this quite similar to what we saw with the M47 Patton that I covered in a previous video. Here's the use of the string, the towing cable, and they give you an exact estimation as to the length of the string. You have here the tank commander, and Tamiya provides you with a small cutout, or at least a small picture for a cutout that you would glue onto the map. Here you have some stowage items, ammo boxes, and also used and unused shells that you can detail however you like. You also have some background information in Tamiya's nice glossy pamphlet or small booklet, and it has a nice diagram of the tank, some background information about it, and illustrations as to how the tank would look like, and also the color callouts. Then lastly, we have here, this would be familiar, so the multi-piece 50 cal machine gun. This is similar to what we saw in the M47 Patton kit. Then clear parts for the dust goggles, as you can see right there. And then also for the headlights. Now these ones, from what I read, are for the M438 or the Easy 8 Sherman's Tank Commander Cupola Vision ports. So you can go ahead and not mind these. But other than that, this is how Tamiya's M18 Hellcat looks like, and I'm quite excited to build it. However, I wouldn't really be using these decals, as I would be depicting this as part of the 637th Tank Destroyer Battalion, which served in the Philippines from January to June 1945. And alright, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a thumbs up, but if you didn't, leave a thumbs down. And let me know down in the comments below what you think of this tank, the kit, or any feedback in general. And as always, stay safe, keep modeling, and until next time, goodbye.